Hi there, my name is Michael. I'm a psychology master's who specializes in alcohol, social cognition, and cognitive behavioral CBT therapy. And today, I'm here to talk about cognitive errors and rhetorical fallacies that are used by the Trump administration. You might be asking yourself, what are cognitive errors? What are rhetorical fallacies? And I'm here to tell you. So cognitive errors are defined as systematic errors in thinking. They're also known as cognitive distortions, cognitive biases. And there are ways that can influence our thoughts, but then also our behaviors and our actions, and even health outcomes as we navigate the world around us and try to understand what information is coming into us as individuals. Rhetorical fallacies, you can think of debate people out in like old British universities. Rhetorical fallacies, also known as logical fallacies, are defined as manipulative or illogical arguments used to persuade people. These are typically used in debate, but if someone does them well enough, rhetorical errors are also the way that you can take cognitive errors from an individual and transfer them to other people by a use of your communication and your logical fallacies. So, cognitive errors, rhetorical fallacies, something that's used in politics by humans all the time and used in politics quite a bit. This was originally going to be a bipartisan presentation, but the sad truth is you see them in the Trump administration all the time, and I always tell people you should learn these because then you'll be just like me and you'll see them every single day and you'll pull your hair out. It's great. You'll love it. It's so good. You should memorize all these and be just as miserable as me. It's great. Don't be too jostled by the lighting upgrade that I got the next day, but let's jump right into it. This video I'm doing is part of a larger presentation, which I might make in other smaller videos, but for now I want to focus on 5 cognitive errors that Trump uses to carve out his support, which remains credulous and supports them way more than they should. And also stick around for the 5th one, because I think the 5th one is the most precedent right now that people can tackle in real life with everyday conversations. The first cognitive error that Trump uses for support is in-group bias, which is preferential treatment for one's group, usually facilitated by preferential regard, preferential positive evaluation, that's specified for members of the in-group only. You saw this right away with Trump, whereas some people run their campaigns by going to the rallies and having people physically there who are supporting them. They usually speak to the American people in general, which includes supporters and opponents, political opponents alike. Trump, however, took a different approach. When he went to his rallies, you saw him specifically speaking to the people there who came to the rallies. And then also, if you notice, like me, he offered them specifically compliments, saying people at his rallies were smart people, loyal people, true Americans. And he even went so far as to call them very special people. This is a way to facilitate in-group. You make a group that you compliment and you specify and you say are good people, and you give them preferential special regard that insulates them as members of your own support group and creates a bias to where members want to be in that group, and they also want to satisfy the leader who facilitates compliments and gives them mentorship and membership into this role. Once you have in-group bias, you move on to our second cognitive error, hostile attribution bias, which is the interpretation of behaviors of out-group members as inherently hostile or threatening. You see this quite a bit, whether it's the press or the enemy of the people, immigrants as the worst, or Democrats, every single one, center left or where, being radical left. Hostile attribution bias, this is a classic bias to human experience. It's where using repeated language like this creates an us versus them mentality. And also paired with in-group bias, when you have your in-group, you feel complimented, you feel welcome, you want to be a member of that group. When you have us versus them thinking, hostile attribution bias, it insulates the group even more, it crystallizes the group, and then also energizes the group with a common enemy, people that they're afraid and skeptical of. We see that one quite a bit. Our third cognitive error is one that I think has been slightly bad for all the conservative American politics as a whole and outwardly dangerous for MAGA. The illusory truth effect is a psychological phenomenon where repeated exposure to inaccurate, misleading, or even outwardly false information can eventually become seen as truthful through repeated exposures. And this effect increases if the person it's coming from is someone who they have high regard for, favor, someone they like, or someone who has high power. And so much so that they're trying to find every legal basis to deport you if you disagree with them. That can also have an effect on it too, I think. There are plenty of examples of illusory truth effect in the Trump administration. Some new ones are currently being attempted right now, but I think the most glaring is the 2020 election was stolen and or rigged and or fraudulent. This is one that Trump, during the initial investigations, kept repeating and repeating, basically, that there was a stolen election. He kept drawing at straws, looking at evidence where there eventually was found not to be. In fact, there were just election workers who got doxxed and harassed by people while Trump tried to make something stick. And also, when it came to 60 court cases that all found no credible evidence, no evidence of fraud, and his own cabinet saying, like, we kind of lost, Trump kept repeating and repeating and repeating, and got this effect, illusory truth effect, with enough base of people who believe in, most of them the truth social types who are in an echo chamber. And this led to January 6th. You see people who, with no credible evidence, even his own cabinet backing away from the mess, people who believed it, and believed it to the effect that they would attack the Capitol. And then number 4, hostile attribution bias, in-group bias. These are all kind of par for the course for demagogues. They've been done time and time again. But the 4th one is reactive devaluation. And this is probably the only one I would say Trump actually does uniquely kind of well. Reactive devaluation is a cognitive error of automatically devaluing a criticism or an idea merely because it comes from an opposing group member, a rival, or very, very importantly, an in-group critic. So reactive devaluation in general, this is something you see when Democrats are opposed COVID relief or immigration policies put forward by the Democrats and just being shut down because, we don't like the Democrats. But the most effective use of reactive devaluation is Trump's use of this cognitive error on Republicans, conservatives, right-wingers themselves, specifically with his use of the term rhino, Republican in name only. This he used with, is his name Kissinger? This is one he used with Liz Cheney and several other Republicans, where whenever they had a different idea, a different opinion, or some small criticism of anything Trump was doing, he would call them rhino, Republican in name only, and devalue their idea by attributing it to their character and saying they're not actually Republican. So he displayed this himself and then encouraged his followers to do that as well. And this devaluated, decentralizing opinion and gave him more momentum to do whatever he wants to do. Reactive devaluation is something that's used quite a bit with opponents, but also becomes a very potent political tool when you want to be a unilateralist. You want to make your own decisions in everything, even if they're bad decisions and people disagree. By using rhinos, he effectively took people in his party and gave them an identity crisis. If they vocalize criticism or even just second thoughts or different ideas, they can be outed, they can be said to be not Republican enough, challenged by Trump, and they know Trump's supporters are riled up behind him quite a bit, and they could lose their political careers. So this is reactive devaluation, which has been weaponized to silence dissent, even from Republicans, even from side-by-side members of the same party. So all 4 of these are very potent cognitive errors. They've been used throughout history. And if you use all 4 of them, you can get some really gosh darn good support. You can get it really credulous, some top quality demagoguery. But if you want that support, once you have it going, if you want that support to be self-sustaining, self-moving, have a nice little battery pack attached to it, and you can just take a breeze, you need to incorporate good old-fashioned CTCs, conversation terminating cliches. CTCs, or conversation terminating cliches, when used incidentally, can be used by someone subconsciously to avoid uncomfortable conversations they don't want to have. When used with more purpose, they can be used to shut down dissent or even just critical thinking. And when used with organized tact and intentional purpose, they can be used as a means to equip people to avoid critical thinking and reinforce the current power structures and belief systems that they don't want to lose their momentum and to keep going. CTCs are also often mimetic, which means the original person who utilizes the CTCs makes them in a way to where they'll transmit to the population as well. This is why they're usually simple, short, and good and snappy. The examples of this are ample, they're catchy. Trump has truly used his experience in media and marketing to make some pretty decent, not half bad, they're catchy, they get it going. Whether it is Trump facing legal actions for some of his moves, it's a witch hunt. Whether it's Trump having issues with the government, people disagreeing with him, that's the deep state. If it's people who have issues with some of his policies, that's the woke mob. If people have family members who are like, oh, I have the smallest criticism for Trump, I want to tell, Trump derangement syndrome. These are phrases that whenever you hear criticism of someone who wants to have power, someone who wants to maintain credulous support, they have a common phrase ready-made for you to shut that down and exit the conversation. There's also plenty of historical examples of this. Whenever someone wants greater and greater consolidations of power, these are usually employed, whether that be in North Korea after the Korean War, when the regime was building anyone who was like, why are we building it this way? It was said, oh, you're an imperialist puppet. In Stalinist Russia, when people ask, oh, why is Stalin killing so many people? That's counter-revolutionary talk. And the most disturbing one, which I'll probably make a separate video on, is in 1930s and then especially 1940s Germany. Whenever the smallest criticism made its way into Germany about what Hitler was doing, that is Lügenpresse, the press of lies, which might sound, it's a little Germanic, but might sound a bit familiar.
Fake news, the fake news.
Again, I might do another video on that. And again, I'll make another video with specific strategies that I use when talking with Trump supporters that I think are effective. I've seen probably over 20 people now who've told me I've stopped their support of Trump, or at least minimized it to where they've oh, I didn't know that, and they kind of back off a little bit. I'll give specific strategies for that. But in the meantime, maybe just focus on CTCs, conversation terminating cliches. If you see those, again, they go from the head honcho all the way down, they get dispersed in the population. If you talk with a Trump supporter, which have these conversations are meaningful. They change things. There's a reason time machine movies, you can't change like a leaf, you can't pluck a flower because you're going to change the whole. These conversations are meaningful. Have conversations and don't let them do a CTC. If anyone tries to do that's fake news, that's the woke mob, press them farther. You're certainly more smart than that, and also they're more smart than that. Press them, make them uncomfortable, and be like, sweetheart, you're smarter than this. And don't let the conversation terminate, or at least point out that they're terminating the conversation. You might ask me, well, Mike, gosh diddly dang darn it, what do we do about these cognitive errors? And I'm kind of making that up on the spot. I have a few more things that I put in my presentation that I'll make into another video, but I would say in the meantime, point these out, give them a name, show the manipulative dynamic, which again, we've seen through history over and over again. This is an open book test. We've seen all of these strategies before, but point them out, make people aware of them. And I would say bipartisan as well. These are not exclusive to Trump. Trump is the most glaring, ridiculous example of this. But this is something that's been in politicians, including American politics, for years. They happen left and right. And the more we point them out, the more that the American people can be in charge of their politics. The more we stop letting politicians get away with slimy, scummy, stupid arguments, the more the American people can save for the direction of their country. So point them out, make them aware, keep your leaders humble, and use your intelligence to be a part of the conversation, even as small as your conversation might feel. So anyways, I got to go to bed, I got work in the morning, but those are the most pressing 5 for now. There's probably 20 more I can make in a video, on the spot tomorrow. I'll try to make them piecemeal, but I hope it's been helpful. Any questions, leave them in the comments. And go make this world a more honest place, because that's what we need.